Greetings guys. Someone had left me a comment on one of my videos asking for more details on RCP plans, and that's reflected ceiling plans. So we're going to do that here. Now I'm in a program called On-Screen Takeoff. See it right there? It says On-Screen Takeoff Pro. And I've been using this software for years, even decades. Alright, so we've landed on the reflected ceiling plan for area A of this building that we're looking at. It's actually the Hollowbird Academy, an existing building in the city of Baltimore. The question that I got just asked for, can you do more details on RCP? So that's what I'm going to do here. And like I said, I'm using a takeoff program, so we're actually going to do a quantity takeoff as well. So as I'm navigating through the drawings here, it's the first thing I want to do. I normally start from the top left and then work my way down or around or something, but we got the corner of the building here. Looks like this area does not have any ceilings. You can see that indicated there. These are probably lights or something like that that you can see, but this being an outdoor storage area, it does not have a ceiling. And then you get to the conference room. It looks like some offices, maybe psychologists, flex office, office. All of these, I can tell you, are look like a acoustic ceiling tile. Those are mostly what you see in places like this. This is a school, but you would see this in any establishment you go into. Most of the time, they're going to have a ceiling grid and then an acoustical ceiling tiles sitting in there. So that is what you have here. Now I'm going to prove all this in a second. And then you'll notice you've got these speckles, and these are just drywall ceilings made out of the same material that they use to clad a wall. This is what applies in the restroom. Now you see that these are in the staff toilet, the restrooms, women's, and the personal care room. And so these are normally maybe moisture resistant, possibly, but it's a drywall ceiling. And so here, this appears to be some specialized kind of ceiling. Still a tile ceiling, but it's specialized, and we'll have to see. We can tell what it is by looking at these patterns here. I'm gonna say it's maybe a wood or metal ceiling. So scurrying along here, I don't see anything else that pops out to me. And then you have the gymnasium. So the gymnasium, because this is a two-story building, the gymnasium isn't going to be on the first floor, so there won't be a ceiling in here. This will go all the way up. And it looks like the same for the vestibule. Maybe the vestibule is a two-story little area right there, so there won't be any there. Now I've actually done a video about this same canopy here, and it's dealing with the steel structure here, so go look at that if you're interested in seeing that. But now that we've perused, well, we haven't perused the drawings, but we've just looked at this drawing, this one drawing, we're going to go here to the ceiling legend, and this will help you figure out what some of those things were that we saw. Now we already did, we looked at the drawing already, and then we came over here. But now you would be able, this is what I would suggest to do first. Look at the ceiling legend, but I kind of told you what, an idea of what we were looking at. Like a light fixture that we saw in the one room, and it appears to be a light fixture. This is also a light fixture. So these are all light fixtures here. You'll see those. And so all of this is lighting. Different types of lighting, and it says see electrical, so you'll see more information about the placement of those lights and other things on the electrical plans. And this is that speckled pattern, the gypsum board ceiling, soffit, or bulkhead. So depending on where these are used, it's the same material, but depending on where it is and what's the function will determine if it's a soffit or a bulkhead. and we'll get into that because I plan on looking at details. I'm not really sure how much information to provide, but like I said, this is a quick video just to maybe answer some questions additional. So then we have the acoustical pan ceiling, and that's identified by APC-4 on the drawings. And then you've got your 2x2 24-inch by 24-inch suspended acoustical ceiling panels, and so it tells you, or it shows you there, APC-3 is what you'll see, and also APC, acoustical panel ceiling, and APC2, or fiberglass reinforced ceiling panels, RFP. And that RFP, whether it's on a wall or a ceiling, normally you'll see it in an area where there's going to be food cooked or served or something like that. It's cleanable surfaces, fiberglass reinforced panel ceilings. And so you'll also see FRP walls as well in those areas. And then we get down to the mechanical things that are in there. So like your diffusers, supply, return, and then here you have, it says C mechanical, so those are your mechanical devices. And then it also says ceiling mounted speakers and motion sensors. These are actually, the motion sensor and the speakers are more from the technology drawings, where they'll have the audio and the visual devices in there, but it's showing you that that's what those are. When you see the S, it's a ceiling mounted speaker, and this is a motion sensor that detects if there's motion, usually flicks on a light. That's why it says go to the electrical plans for that. Now, let's look at the RCP notes. Now, these are general notes, so this applies to all of the drawings in this set. And so let's read those with that in mind. And it tells you here, this applies to sheets A7, 1 through 8. So these are all the RCP sheets. Note number 1 says, typical ceiling height shall be 10 feet unless otherwise indicated on the reflected ceiling plans. And the toilets are to be 8 feet. So let's break these down. Like right here, whenever you see this symbol, this is your elevation symbol. This lets you know from the finished floor to the finished ceiling what the height in between is. So this little soffit right here, this is called a soffit, and it's a fancy looking soffit, but it is 9 foot off of the wall. You look across the hallway, you've got another soffit like that right outside of a doorway, making a transition. I'll tell you the purpose of a soffit without looking it up in the dictionary. Just from my experience, the soffits are used to transition between differing heights. And so right here you have a 10-foot 2 ceiling, and unless otherwise noted, this should be a 10-foot ceiling. So there's a 2-inch little wall bump up that takes this height up 2 inches. And then as you walk through this door, the ceiling height will drop down to what it says here, 9'6". All right, so I would say, what were we actually looking at? Let's see. We were looking, yeah, okay. So we're on task here. Just have to make sure we are looking at the ceiling heights and seeing the varying ceiling heights. Now imagine yourself walking through this hallway. All right, that's what you have to do. You're walking through this hallway, it's 9'6", and then you look to your right and it drops down to 9'2". You keep going, you got the same ceiling height there. Okay. Now, when you're looking at the ceiling heights, don't get those confused with dimensions like this. Dimension 1'6", 4'6", not to be confused with the 9'6" that is tied, or 9'8" that is tied to this this ceiling height right there. And again, you'll start to pick up some of the things that we saw. This light here in this area. This area has no ceiling, as well as the electrical room and the mechanical room. No ceiling in there. But you can start to see in the storage room and the laundry room, for instance, it's saying that you have a 9-foot ceiling in there, a 9-foot ceiling in there. And so as you go around, now you're getting familiar with identifying what the heights are. And the rule to apply, that according to our notes over here, is, for instance, the gym storage, that's a good example. This is an area that is not note 9 foot like it does in here for the ceiling height. So that's where this note will apply. Typical ceiling height shall be 10 feet. So this is 10 feet because there's nothing else identifying what the height should be. And then the rest of that note that says toilet to be 8 feet, wherever you see a toilet. And this last one here, in areas of exposed ceilings. Exposed ceilings were the areas that I pointed out where there are a mechanical room, an electrical room, and you just see the light there. Those are exposed ceilings, meaning that you see the bottom of the structure above you. And so it's saying to paint the exposed structure, the underside of the deck, the sprinkler piping, conduit, and all miscellaneous overhead items. And the color is to be selected by the architect. Now, if you're picturing this, just to let you know, they don't have a guy with a paintbrush or a guy with a roller brush. This is usually spray applied at this point. So let's get into the takeoff. I guess I'm just showing you how to use this software a little bit. Okay, so what we can do over here is where we'll create items to take off for quantification. And I'm just going to kind of use our ceiling legend to create the items that we're planning to take off, just based off the ceiling legend. So to create a new item, we're going to go to new condition. That's the, look here at the top, the bottom left. I'm clicking this button. And so this is the quick start condition helper. Condition is what we're creating. Anything that we're going to quantify, we're going to set up as a condition. And so when we click, and so we have a linear condition. If we were doing a wall, something measured in linear foot, we have an area condition for what we're going to do, like a ceiling or a concrete slab or floor. And then you have your count conditions like doors, windows, or fixtures like the light fixtures. But we're going to click on the area condition, and as you see, a condition properties window pops up. And so just in case we selected the wrong type, we can go in here and then select linear. And this program is so nice to already provide us with some items. So, but we're going to do this. Let's just click on the item that they have. All right. So we're going to rename this though. So this is preloaded in the program already. They already had a 24 by 24. We're going to retitle this, and we're going to call it APC. And this is APC dash 3. So since we have something preloaded, let me go ahead and show you what we have. And just click on this magnifying glass. This brings up all of the condition types. And if I want to create a new condition type here, I would just hit new, and right there I can start creating a new condition type. But I don't need to do that, so we'll hit delete. Yes. And so you can see how these are categorized. We have towel, CMU, EFIS, exterior walls, face bricks are some of the categories that we have there. So those are the condition types, just a way to categorize things. Then you have your layers window. Layers is another way to toggle your takeoff image on and off. So say for instance, when this is all done, it's going to look pretty cluttered, a lot of colors on top of colors. And so if we only want to look at only everything on the ceilings level, all the ceiling types, for instance, and we could turn everything else off and only show the ceilings. All right. And then we don't care to put a thickness here. The only way that this would apply is if we were trying to calculate cubic yardage of concrete, for instance. Then you would put a thickness, and it would apply a lot to whatever shape you do here. Now, the good thing about this software, on-screen takeoff, that's better than doing things by hand in this way, is that you can calculate up to 3 things at once. So right now, I'm calculating the area, and then I can choose the unit of measure as well: square feet, square yards, square inches. And I'm also going to calculate the perimeter. The perimeter is going to give me, for instance, if I was doing crown molding or something like that in the ceiling. Doesn't really apply to most of what we do, but it won't hurt to get that quantity as well. And then we have area counts. So for every room, it's going to count that as an area. Again, this is just to show the functionality of the software, but if I hit the drop down menu here, these are all the options that I have to put together when I'm making an area condition. So you can start to think, you know, how this would apply to a lot of other different things you would quantify. But we're done. Let's hit OK. All right, so now to do a little quantity takeoff. This room is large enough, so let's zoom into this conference room. And to start doing takeoff is very simple. You left click, and then you can see that now you have a measuring tool that's coming out. You would click on the corner, single click, and you can see that it is starting to put together a shape. You click at each corner and begin to make the shape yourself. Double click, and there you go. So I'll hold my mouse over here. So you can see that we've calculated 258 square feet of material, and the length around the whole thing is 67 linear feet. Now, one important thing that I should have just started with is you want to make sure that you check your scale. Luckily, we were at the right scale right here, but you want to check your scale and make sure that it matches up to your drawings. Maybe in another video I can show you more about this software, because there's a lot of things you can do. We could even calculate if we don't have a scale shown anywhere on the drawing. We can figure it out, but I don't want to go down a rabbit trail. Anyway, let me show you something else about what we've done here. So let's say that you actually want this to be a 2x2 grid. That is where you would get into your Advanced tab. So if I click on Grid, which it looks like it's already highlighted here, and hit Apply, you see I now have a grid that reflects the 2x2 grid. And this is just for, you know, purposes of people with OCD and things like that. But there you go. That makes me feel better now. Okay, now the best thing is we don't have to go through that whole process to create the next item. And of course we could keep going on and find all of the 2x2s, but we're now going to go to another item. So where was that area? How about the gym storage right here? These are 2x4. And according to this, the 2x4 suspended ceilings are your APC 1, or I guess APC-2. All right, so I'm going to clone this item because it's essentially going to be the same. The only difference is going to be that the size is going to be different of the material. But the square footage is all we're really looking for, so that doesn't even matter. So if I want to change the properties, like if I were to double click on this, it's the same as clicking on this item or clicking on that icon. Delete the whole thing would be there, and duplicate condition is actually what we want to do. So we'll duplicate this condition, and it gives us a little quick start, which is helpful. You can watch a training video to show how to do a lot of things in this program, or you can watch me. So we'll go to change this up. So you can see I can do it right here. I don't have to even open up that window. This comes from years of experience of using it actually. So now, don't show that again actually. Now we're ready to now quantify for this. Okay, so we're not going to move the grid this time, but you can see now and these are also recorded off to the side. Your quantities 1, 2, and 3, however you select, are all off to the side here. So let's just move this out. Like I said, I just really jumped into this program without explaining a whole lot about it. But I just wanted to really answer the gentleman's question who left the comment. So, just in case your question goes beyond just doing a regular takeoff, maybe I want to get into some details here and see how this stuff comes together. So, like for instance, I was explaining the soffits. If we go to sheet A-7.7, look at G15 here and here, it appears to show us what that transition looks like here and wherever, you know, elevations change. Now we're going to open up a second view window here. That way we won't have to navigate away from what we're currently using. And just give me a second to find where the detail. G15 is what we're looking for. So let's blow this up. Okay, so we're zoomed in tight on both the detail and the plan. This symbol here indicates that we're looking at a section cut of the building. So we would be standing here looking this direction, and this is what we would see. All right, so first we see that there are two varying heights here. The corridor appears to be higher than this soffit. The corridor is at 9'6". The soffit is at 9'2". So there's a 4-inch transition. This is your transition right here. This is the 4-inch transition. If we're standing here and looking this way, we would look up, we would see these ceilings right here at 9'6", and it's showing the wires that help it, you know, the wires for the suspended ceiling system. Points it out there, and then you have gypsum board on a ceiling grid. So gypsum boards, drywall, in other words, and you see it there as is indicated there. What you can't see is this little transition, but that's how you look at those details. And I'm curious to see one more thing. I wanted to see the acoustical panel ceiling type 4, the acoustical metal panel ceilings. I figured while we're on the detail page, I'll see what else I can point out. The bulkhead detail at the Art and Tech. This basically shows, and there's another detail here that shows that a little closer, but this shows the transition between two different types of walls. They appear to both be at the same elevation, but it's pointing out here that this is a 5/8 inch gypsum board wall on the ceiling grid. So this is attached to a ceiling grid. So you still see the ceiling grid here, only this does not have acoustic panels that go through a slot and sit in a grid system. These are gypsum board that is fastened to it. And so there's a transition somewhere where you go from, I think these are the acoustic panel that we just looked at, and that may be the reveal. I'm not sure. We can look at, I guess we're looking at one more detail just to see what this is that is showing us. If we can find G12 really quickly, it just closely shows the aluminum trim. So this may be more or less than what you asked for, but at least you got a free tutorial in on-screen takeoff. And if you're curious on how to do more quantity takeoffs on your own, then that may be a different conversation. Go ahead and put that in the comment section. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and if you got something from it. Also, share to anyone in the construction industry you know, or that may be trying to get into the construction industry. Share this and leave me a comment. Peace out.